boy, Caesar, coming at you right now. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I know I sure am. Today I want to talk about a little bit of a sensitive topic for myself. I'm talking about the aspect of the new Lord of the Rings series coming out. You know, I am a fantasy channel. I enjoy works from Tolkien, content creators about Tolkien, everything. You know, just the father of fantasy, of modern day fantasy, as I consider him. So I've been hearing a lot of rumors and a lot of things going on about the Tolkien series. One of the biggest things is this new series is a disgrace to his name. I have not seen the trailer. I'm not really familiar with the books. I'll be honest, I have trouble reading them. But through content creation and content creators like Nerd of the Rings, I'm going to link their channels down in the description below. Nerd of the Rings, the sword of the shattered sword, a lot of different channels I'll mention throughout the video once I remember them. They have helped me understand the world of Tolkien. They have helped me see through their opinion, also through the like what their book actually says, and explain it in a way that maybe I could understand better. So we're gonna go ahead and go through here. I'm gonna start with the trailer, and then give my thoughts about it. I know a little bit about the drama that's going on with it, and etc., which I can kind of tend to agree with what they're talking about. So let's go ahead and turn up the display capture here, and turn that on here. It's gonna go here, and then we're gonna start here. So I'm gonna pause it every now and then, just be prepared for that.
At last.
Okay, just 5 seconds. You're just 5 seconds in, I swear. First thing that I know about Tolkien's works, there's always an inspiring chance of hope in his work. He even thought Gollum could be redeemed. He said he doesn't have much hope, but he said, one of the lines I picked up, and I'll show later in the video here, I've planned all this out actually, is that there's, just because something is terrible doesn't mean there's no hope. And by the setting of this whole setting, this seems like hopeless. It's just like, we're lost. We don't know what to do, right? There's no chance of us to win. And this is what this is telling me. You got the dead trees all around. This is a battlefield, a mountain of freaking helmets, right? So let's go on.
Was ended.
Probably think that's the mountain of bodies too from the Second Age. They just couldn't put that in the video because they're trying to be family friendly.
Today are days of peace.
Elrond right there, and there's what you call him, Gladriel.
Begin.
I have no idea why they're being crowned, but maybe it's like a Medal of Honor or something of the sorts.
We thought our joys would be unending. We thought our light would never dim.
Looks like they're sailing to the Isle of Numenor, maybe. And this is, as somebody who's never read the books, just from watching content creation alone, I can sit here and pinpoint these points. Like, they're sailing in, it just seems too dark, right? Because remember from Lord of the Rings, the Return of the King movie, when they were sailing into, like, the end of the movie, spoiler alert, they're sailing, Frodo leaves the Shire, goes to the Isle of Numenor to try to be healed. Or I think it's Numenor, or wherever the gods live, or the spirits, because there's only one god. They are a monotheistic religion. One of their great spirits, I forget, I think it's Numenor. I'm not exactly sure. But it was bright, it was shining. You know, this is a fantasy world after all. So, from that tells me there's a little bit of a nihilistic theme going on here. I mean, you got birds flying out there to this great beam of light with this fog opening up. It just doesn't seem correct. So I'm thinking maybe that's obviously the Planthier. I can't say it right, I apologize. This is really a difficult one for me. It's like, it seems so dark and brooding. I don't know.
moment we feared.
See, there's no aspirant of hope at all in this battle. I'm already seeing this, and I'm like, that's one thing Tolkien always said. There can be redemption for everybody. There was no hope. No hope at all. And then just seeing that, and that's so nihilistic. That's what, the hero always comes out on top. This is difficult for me to watch, because this is somebody who loves the fantasy universe. Okay, the tree. Priest of Sauron, probably.
Beyond the darkness, tempting shadow, to bury us all beneath the mountain.
And also in the writing style of this as well. We have to take that into consideration. They're talking about, this is just a trailer. We haven't seen the series, obviously, yet. This is just the trailer. But for somebody that has a perspective, has sort of like a semi-knowledge, not really even knowledge. I don't really know. Like, I haven't read the books. I struggle to read them, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a flaw I have. It's like I can't read Sherlock Holmes. It's not because I can't. I choose not to because I don't like the writing style. I don't know. It's hard for me to relate, right, to that writing style because I struggle with it. Maybe as I get more experienced in books, it'll probably help, right? But without going too much into me, we're going to focus on this video here. I'm getting this sense of, like,
He has no one name, but many.
as modern people would say, as we would say in real life, being a doomer. Like, this is all doom and gloom. Where's the, like, let me point this. When you watch Lord of the Rings for the first time, the movie, when you watch Lord of the Rings for the first time, the opening scene is, you got this little bit of dark, right? So I want to see right after this, if this is what happens. They're telling the story of the past, the War of the Ring, you know, about how Sauron was defeated, and it's very short, and there's hope in it, though. There's still light, you know, in Peter Jackson's take on it. And the good guys won, right? But ultimately, the ring was not destroyed, which was shown and basically led up to the Lord of the Rings, to the Hobbit, and all, etc. Well, the Hobbit first, then the Lord of the Rings. But you know what I mean, guys. See.
Have you heard of him, lad? Have you heard of Sauron?
There's no hope at all in this. What the heck is that thing? Is that supposed to be a Morgul blade or something?
If the evil rising is left unchecked, it will take us all. Find the light, and the shadow will not find you.
Guys, I'm not inspired in any sense of hope in this. This is actually kind of bringing my mood down a little bit. It's one of the reasons I love Tolkien's books, like hearing about them, or you know, I haven't read them. I'll be honest, I struggle with it. I can't even watch the whole thing, and I'm gonna dislike it right here on the video. I can't even watch it. It's very difficult for me to say that. It doesn't seem like it sticks for me. I feel like, I don't know if you guys were able to see that at all the whole time. Let me take this off here. It's a little disorientating. For me, it was very difficult. And I tried to watch the whole thing. And it just doesn't seem like Tolkien's work. It seems more like a Game of Thrones work, which was inspired by Tolkien, but a little bit darker themed and more adult-oriented themed. It's really, after, like, I've watched a little bit of it, to be honest with y'all. I watched a little bit of it before, but I've actually never sat down and observed it that hard. This doesn't feel like a Tolkien work. It just feels like a modernization, um, fantasy, modern fantasy, universe that just has Lord of the Rings tied onto it, like a dang mobile game would. All right. So it's supposed to look like Lord of the Rings. It's based off a book of Lord of the Rings of the Second Age, but it's not. Now, I'm going to give some critiques here as well. One of the big critiques I'm going to give here is I'm going to quote the old horse himself. Y'all ready? I got some quotes that Tolkien has wrote himself, and I've actually picked up. So, one thing I've learned from doing a lot of research about certain characters in the story and such, like Gandalf, obviously. You got like a one that's not talked about a lot is Boromir is not talked about a lot. So we're gonna start with the Gandalf quote I have. So I looked up quotes by Gandalf, and I was like, well, I want to do one about Gollum because I know there's a lot of strong ones and strong points about that. And this is a line taken from when he was talking with Bilbo. So, you guys ready? I think he's in this context, I don't know exactly where, but I have not much hope that Gollum can be cured before he dies, but there's a chance of it, and he is bound up with the fate of the ring. My heart tells me that he has some part to play yet, for good or ill, before the end, and when it comes, the pity of Bilbo may rule the fate of many, yours not least. So, this is Gandalf speaking in J.R. Tolkien, The Shadow of the Past, Fellowship of the Ring. Now, I think what this is stating is that even though Gollum himself, there's still hope that even though he's failed and he's become, still has that choice of man, where he can either do something good. It's that choice, right? That's what I'm trying to say. He's just like, it's a hard thing to copy. It just says it right there. He has a hand to play in the things to come. This is literal fantastic writing right here, because there's multiple ways to interpret it, right? That's it. That's the way I interpret it. He can either bring good, he can choose to do the right thing, or he can choose to do bad. But it all comes down to what Bilbo chooses to do, and it'll have a reverb effect onto the future. So, it's sort of speaking like actions have consequences, right? Now here's another one. I'm going to put up this one. Alright. Oh crap, I didn't even turn on the screen capture. Oh well. Let's see, display capture. There we go. Alright. This is one I'm going to show y'all. Let me go and do this one here. So, this is an example of hope. Is Boromir redeemed? As a member of the Fellowship, his desperation to save his country ultimately drove him to betray his companions and attempt to seize the ring. So we all know Boromir was a member of the Fellowship of the Ring, which he was one of the 12 that were trying to get Frodo to the Mount Doom. So, could you imagine as a person, he was sitting there having anxiety, having extreme worry that they're not going to make it. He was desperate to find a way to save his people. And he tried to steal the ring from Frodo and take it upon himself and take it back to Gondor to use as a weapon. But in his struggle with Frodo escaped, and he realized, oh my gosh, I messed up. I should not have tried to take somebody else's burden that, you know, it wasn't like somebody else's job, right? Or something along those lines. To take that ring myself and use it as a weapon. It's not, they already told me it's not supposed to be a weapon. The only person who can truly wield it is Sauron himself. So Gandalf probably could too, but a story for another time. There was hope in his, and he repented by doing his brave last stand and dying on the sword and regained his honor. So, and we all know in fantasy, honor is a very, very big thing. Your word is your bond, etc. So this is just a little deep dive. I wanted to show y'all that this affects everybody. The Rings of Power is a disgrace to J.R.R. Tolkien's name, and that's my personal opinion. Like they're putting a stain on what what his fantasy drove, what it pushed towards. You know, they're putting this nihilistic view instead of having his view. Because that's one thing, and a lot of them try to say, oh, well, he wanted people to interpret his works differently and yada, yada, yada. No, but he didn't want people, yeah, he said that, yes, but he wants people to stick to, he doesn't want them to change the story, right? He doesn't want that there not to be no hope, or like feel like all hope is lost. So, this is kind of rant over, you know, but I just want to put my piece on it. Like, as somebody who's a passionate fan and will only be watching one episode to see if they like it or not. I mean, and I'll just say that. I'm only watching one episode. I'm not going to stick with it if I don't like it. Just like The Mandalorian, just like every single thing out there. I just, and not that I didn't like The Mandalorian, guys, I just don't like that crap. I just don't like Disney. Or these big multimedia companies. Holy crap, this is a 20-minute video. In a rant of 20 minutes talking about the Tolkien universe. I do apologize, but I just wanted to give a good synopsis and a good idea of how I felt about it. Like, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about it, and I just think it affects everybody. You know, it really does. It affects everybody. Like, you play World of Warcraft, it affects you. You play Dungeons and Dragons, it affects you. I mean, if you enjoy the works of Lord of the Rings, it affects you, because it's saying, putting a modernization of, it's no longer fantasy at that point. I'll just put it straight. That's my short synopsis. It's no longer fantasy. And I know that that is very hard for me to, that is kind of an argument that is hard to say. But when you put real world politics, real world situations, and real world, you know, into a real world anything, into a fantasy story, I mean, you kind of got an issue to start with. I mean, the real world problems of today should not be affecting Middle-earth. I mean, Middle-earth is basically a flat disc floating in space. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with y'all. It's a flat disc. It's like based off the dome theory. Like, it's pretty much probably where the dome theory came from. So, I don't know, y'all. Because if you sit there and think about it, yeah. Alright, guys. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Make sure to hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you feel about this. Let me know how this has affected you. And I appreciate it. And again, don't forget to hit that like, comment, subscribe, and hit that noti bell. See you guys in the next one. Bye!